This video will talk about frequency and relative frequency. Frequency of a category is the number of times it occurs in a data set. So if you were to poll people and ask their favorite color, the frequency of blue would be the number of people that responded with blue. The frequency of yellow would be the number of people that responded with yellow. Once you have frequencies, you can organize them in a frequency distribution, which is a table that presents the frequency for each category. So it organizes it so that the reader, the viewer of the table, can see the breakdown of each category. So example 1, student grades, says, suppose a group of students earn the following grades. And here those are. I'm not going to read those all out. The frequency table for this data would look like the following. So let's go over here and let's work on this. So first, you saw 2 columns. Well, I'm going to change that to 3. You might say, well, why are there 2 columns that say frequency? Well, actually, I'm going to change this middle column from frequency to tallies. Okay, so let's talk about what a tally is. A tally is when you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and you make a tick mark for each time that you count. And when you get to 5, you do a slash, a diagonal slash through your 4 tallies. So then keep counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. So this would be 5, 5, 5, 10, 2 would make that 12 total. 12 total tallies. So it's just a way to keep track of your counting. So this column here in the center, this is completely optional. You don't have to have it, but it does help when you're trying to count things initially. So let's count for each time, for each one. When I count it, I'm going to cross it off. So B, C, A, B, B. So I'm just putting a tick mark for each letter in the appropriate category. D, C, 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 F, A, C, there goes that slash to make 5, B, B, so another slash for 5 B's, B, C, B, D. And now we can go and count the number of tallies for each letter, and that would be our frequency. So there are 2 tallies for A, there's 5, 6, 7 for B, 5, 6 for C, 2 for D, and 1 for F. And there we have it. Now, if we go and we count these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There should be 18 when I add these together. So 2 plus 7 is 9, plus 6 is 15, plus 2 is 17, plus 1 is 18. And we counted a total of 18. So there you have it. That is a frequency distribution. And again, this center is optional. You don't have to have it. So here would be an example of where you have a frequency distribution without that tally column. All right, next is relative frequency. So it's similar to frequency, but it's not the number of observations, it's the proportion of observations in each category. So proportion, think percentage, but written as a decimal or a fraction in that form. So a relative frequency is the proportion of observations in a category. And then you can organize those in a table format called a relative frequency distribution. So to find your relative frequency, you just take the frequency of the category and divide it by the total of all the frequencies together. So frequency divided by total is relative frequency. Once you find all the relative frequencies and add them together, they should add up to be 1. So let's try this one together. They already have the frequencies for us, but they want us to fill out the relative frequency. Okay, so we don't have to count anything up because it's already been counted, but we do need to add the frequencies to figure out the total. So 4 and 6 make 10, 7 and 3 make 10, 10 and 10 make 20. So we see that there's a total of 20. So to find the relative frequency, we're going to take each frequency and divide it by 20. So 4 divided by 20, and you can reduce this fraction, but normally what we do is we write our answer as a decimal. So that's 0.20. Then we have 7. So 7 divided by 20 is 0.35. And then 3 divided by 20 is 0.15. And then 6 divided by 20 is 0.30. So again, it's similar to a percent, but it's written in decimal form instead of the percent form. So 0.20 instead of 20%, 0.35 instead of 35%. Now when we add these together, that it should add up to be 1. So 5 and 5 make 10, carrier 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10. So with the decimal, that makes it 1.00 or 1. So it does add up to be 1. We did that correctly. All right. There's all those again. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video and complete the relative frequencies for that frequency table we did earlier. We did the frequency table for the grades. Here were the frequencies we found. Now use those to find the relative frequency. So hit pause now, and when you unpause, we'll go over them. Okay, so I'm sure you have worked through that by now. So let's go over the answers. So if we add all of these together, you should add them up and get 18, which we added those up before. So you're going to divide each of these numbers by 18. So 2 divided by 18 is 0.1111. 7 divided by 18 is 0.3889. 6 divided by 18 is 0.33333. Now notice I'm rounding all of these to 4 decimal places, and so you always want to read the directions and round accordingly. However, I will go ahead and tell you that for relative frequency, typically we round to 4 decimal places. 2 divided by 18 is 0.1111, and 1 divided by 18 is 0.0556. And when you add these together, it does add up to be 1. Great job. All right, so moving on. I want to go back and make it so that you don't see the top of my screen there. Okay, there we go. All right, we just did this one. All right, so quantitative data. The frequency distributions that we've done so far have been for qualitative data, but you can do them for quantitative data as well. If there's a small range of numbers, meaning your numbers go from, let's say, 1 to 5. Okay, that's a small number of numbers. You can easily do a frequency distribution or relative frequency distribution and just treat the numbers like they're categories. So let's look at this one. so they've already found the frequency for us. They've done the hard part, right? They've counted all the numbers. This is a store has tracked down how many iPads were sold each day for 50 days, and their data is below. So on one day they had 4, on another they had 2, on another they sold 3, on another they sold 2. Down here they sold 0 on these 2 days and this day. Anyway, so they counted all these up for us, and we got the following frequencies. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add up all the numbers. But what's cool is they already told us there's 50. So these should add up to be 50, and they do. So go ahead and pause the video and find the relative frequencies. All right, so hopefully you had time to work through those, that you paused it, and now you've unpaused it, and you're coming back to check your work. So we've got 5 out of 50, 8 out of 50, so on and so forth, all the way down. Divide by 50. So you get 0.1, 0.16, 0.28, 0.26, 0.12, and 0.08. And these do add up to be 1. All right, so let me go ahead and go to example 3. All right, so this one we want to construct the entire thing. We need to put the hours worked here. You need your frequencies and your relative frequencies. If you want, if you're doing this on your own paper, you're welcome to add a tally column between hours worked and frequency, if that helps. So again, hit pause again one more time, and when you come back, we'll go over the answers. Okay, so the numbers, we have numbers that go from 2 all the way up to 7 as your highest. So we've got the numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you counted these up correctly, you should have 3 2s, 5 3s, 3 4s, 6 5s, 2 6s, and 1 7. And when we add those up together, you have a total of 20. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's it. All right, next, you're going to divide each one of these numbers by 20 to find your relative frequency. So for the first one, we're going to divide 3 divided by 20, and we're going to get 0.15. 5 divided by 20 is 0.25. 3 divided by 20 again is 0.15. 6 divided by 20 is 0.30. 2 divided by 20 is 0.10, and 1 divided by 20 is 0.05. And yes, it does add up to be 1. So great job. So I'm going to stop the video here. That way, if you want to take a break, that you can, and we'll pick up with the next part, the second half, in the next video.